The aim of this video is to identify and understand the main townscape features of Oxford in the style of Gordon Cullen, which is known as serial vision. Serial vision is a series of concepts designed by Cullen to analyse cities. Today I will be investigating 5 of these key concepts. Firstly, closure, which is how buildings and streets cut their linear design to create interesting places. And then surprise, which is how buildings and layouts achieve unexpected vistas. I will then investigate the views in and out of certain areas before looking at the here-ness and there-ness in certain areas. The final concept I will investigate is how infinity and endless views is created within the confines of a cityscape. To locate and define these features, I will be walking the route through the centre of Oxford. This route will start to the east of the city, where Merton Street joins the High Street, and finish on the other side of Oxford by Oxford Castle. By walking the route, now shown in blue, I hope to find some examples of Gordon Cullen's key town concepts. Starting here, at the entrance to Merton Street, it is easy to see the contrast between the High Street and what lies deep within Merton Street. The here, in this case, is a busy pavement, whereas the there is a quiet back street. Upon exploring Merton Street, I find infinity is achieved with the big open spaces. This however soon changes to a closed over street as the colleges loom up ahead of me. As I reach the end of Merton Street, the grandeur of the surrounding colleges surprises me. Upon turning into Oriel Square, I am yet again surprised as the closure felt before melts away to reveal some infinity created by the open spacing of the houses. When looking at the views out of Oriel Square, it is easy to see the contrast between the here-ness and the there-ness. The there-ness is very closed, whereas the here-ness is very open. As I head on to St Aldate's, I am yet again surprised by a contrast within building designs. Upon exiting the relative closure experienced in Bluebell's Lane, I am suddenly met with the hustle and bustle of St Aldate's. I also notice the openness, which means that there's an infinity reaching right down to the street level. Although the building type remains the same, it's this infinity that really complements the scale of the building, making them seem much larger. The punctuation assigned with Christ Church College, combined with the broad open streets surrounding it, make this a real focal point right in the middle of Oxford. The traffic only adds to the busy here-ness of St Aldate's, which is a far cry from the there-ness of the quiet surrounding streets. One such street is Brewery Street. The views into this relatively quiet thoroughfare are drastically different from the views out of it. As I come to the end of Brewery Street and reach St Ebbs, I realise that everything is closed over again. The infinity is now gone, and I'm surprised at how the light levels have suddenly changed. As I work my way south, the closure continues, with mysterious paths leading off to the right and left. I am then yet again surprised when things all open out again, and I'm confronted with Greyfriars multi-storey car park. As I carry on underneath the car park, the feeling of closure becomes evident, and also the views in and out thoroughly diminish. It is by no means a pleasant walk, and if I were Gordon Cullen, I would put it down to A, the lack of infinity, and B, the lack of views in and out of the site. The building design offered nothing either, only adding to the closure I felt within. With relief, I headed north from Greyfriars, and then entered a small but interesting looking passage to the left. This led out onto Oxford Castle, a fascinating mix of old and new architecture with varying uses. Views into this site could have been very misleading, however, as the closure receded, with infinity being restored once again, I was immediately glad I turned in this surprising space. For the first time on my walk today, I was overwhelmed by a sudden sense of place. This area seemed to meet all of the requirements for a place, but everything was balanced. There was infinity, and there was closure. There was also a sense of here-ness and there-ness, as the two building types bounced off one another. There was also surprise as I rounded the corner, leaving the Oxford Castle area, and was confronted at once with New Street. This is where my walk ended, with views over New College. Throughout my walk I have seen some great features of central Oxford and relate them to Gordon Cullen's work on townscape concepts.